3 days before my wedding, I believed my life was finally falling perfectly into place. The dress was ready, hanging carefully in my closet like a promise waiting to be kept. The venue had already been decorated, with white roses and soft golden lights. 200 guests were flying in from different cities and countries. My mother called every few hours, half crying, half laughing with excitement. My father had practiced his wedding speech so many times, he could probably recite it in his sleep. And the man I loved, Daniel Carter, was about to become my husband. For 3 years, he had been everything I thought a perfect partner should be. Calm, gentle, reliable. The kind of man who remembered small details, who made you feel safe, who talked about the future, like it was something the two of you were building together. In 72 hours, we were supposed to stand in front of our families and promise each other forever. At least, that's what I believed. Then my phone buzzed. Just one message request from a woman I had never heard of before. Her name was Emily Harper. Normally I ignore messages from strangers, especially during wedding week. But something about this one made my stomach tighten. So I opened it. And the sentence I read next shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. But 3 days later, my wedding turned into something no one in that room will ever forget. Because in the middle of the ceremony, another woman walked through the doors. And when she raised her hand, she was wearing the exact same engagement ring. But that's getting ahead of the story, because it actually started with a message. And the worst part, I almost married him anyway. For a few seconds, I just stared at the screen. My brain refused to process what I had just read. It had to be a mistake, a prank, some strange misunderstanding, because the message sitting in front of me was impossible. I typed back slowly, "Yes, I'm engaged to Daniel." "What?" 3 little dots appeared almost immediately. Typing. Stopping. Typing again. My heart started beating faster. Then the reply arrived. "Because I'm engaged to him too." I actually laughed. A short, confused laugh that sounded strange even to my own ears. No, that couldn't be right. Daniel and I had been together for 3 years. 3 very real years. We lived together. We had planned this wedding together. We had mailed invitations to 200 guests. There was no secret life. No hidden fianza. It didn't make sense. But before I could respond, another message appeared. Emily sent a photo. I opened it, and the world seemed to tilt sideways. The picture showed Daniel standing on a beach at sunset. He was on one knee, holding a small velvet ring box, smiling that same warm smile I had fallen in love with. The same smile he had given me the day he proposed. Except the woman standing in front of him wasn't me. It was her, Emily. And suddenly, my hands started shaking. My first reaction wasn't anger. It was denial. My brain immediately started searching for explanations. Maybe the photo was old. Maybe she was an ex. Maybe Daniel had proposed years ago and never told me. There had to be a logical answer, because the alternative was impossible. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my phone and called him. "Daniel." The call rang once, twice, 3 times. Then it went to voicemail. That was strange. Daniel almost always answered my calls, especially this week. Wedding week. I tried again. The phone rang longer this time, but still no answer. A cold feeling slowly spread through my chest. I sent a text. "Call me. Urgent." For a moment, the screen stayed silent. Then another message from Emily appeared. "Please don't be angry with me." Her words felt careful, almost nervous. "I didn't know about you until today." My heart was pounding now. I typed one question. "How long have you been together?" The typing bubble appeared again. Then her reply came. 2 years. I stared at the screen. 2 years. That meant something terrifying. Daniel and I had been together for 3, which meant for at least 2 of those years, Daniel had been living 2 completely different lives. 2 relationships. 2 futures. And somehow, neither of us had known the other existed. My mind was racing now. Questions were crashing into each other faster than I could process them. If Emily was telling the truth, Then how had Daniel managed to hide something like this for 2 years? 2 full years. I stared at my phone trying to think. Then a memory surfaced. Daniel's work trips. He traveled a lot. At least, that's what he always told me. Finance consulting. Clients in different cities. Last-minute flights. Weekend conferences. At the time it all made sense. His job demanded it. But now, a terrible thought began forming in my mind. I typed a message to Emily. One question. Does Daniel travel for work a lot? The typing bubble appeared immediately. Yes, she replied. All the time. My stomach dropped. He's a finance consultant, she continued. Half the time he's on a plane somewhere. I slowly lowered the phone. That was exactly the story he had given me, word for word. Suddenly every business trip replayed in my mind. The late-night flights. The weekends he said he had meetings. The times he apologized for disappearing for a few days. I used to tease him about it. Your job steals you from me. He would laugh and kiss my forehead. It's only temporary. But now, the truth was becoming impossible to ignore. Daniel wasn't traveling for work. He was traveling between 2 completely different lives. And somehow, he had convinced both of us that we were the only one. At that point, Emily and I stopped pretending there might be some misunderstanding. Instead, we started comparing details, carefully, almost like detectives trying to solve a crime. What's his favorite restaurant? She asked. I didn't hesitate. Bella Roma. 3 seconds later she replied. That's what he told me too. My stomach twisted. Bella Roma was supposed to be our place. The restaurant he took me to on our first anniversary. The place he said meant something special to him. But now it suddenly felt different. Less like a memory, more like a script. Emily sent another message. What did he say when he proposed? My fingers hovered above the phone. Then she typed. He said, from the moment I met you, I knew my life was about to change. My heart stopped. Those were the exact same words Daniel said to me. Word for word. I slowly replied. That's what he told me too. Then Emily sent more photos. Dinner dates, weekend trips, holiday selfies, different cities, different moments. But the same man, the same smile. And suddenly the truth became impossible to ignore. Daniel hadn't just cheated. He had built 2 completely separate lives, 2 relationships, 2 futures, and unbelievably, 2 weddings. For a few minutes, neither of us spoke. The silence between our messages felt heavy, like both of us were trying to understand how one person could lie so perfectly. Finally, Emily typed, your wedding is first, right? I stared at the message. Yes, I replied. Saturday. 3 days away. She didn't respond immediately. The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally another message came through. What if we don't tell him? I blinked at the screen. What? What if we pretend everything is normal? She continued. What if we let the wedding happen? And expose him there? My first reaction was shock. The idea sounded crazy, completely insane. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Daniel thought he had everything under control. 2 women, 2 lives, 2 weddings. He believed he was the smartest person in the room. Emily sent one more message. Imagine his face when he realizes we both know. I looked at the calendar. 3 days. 3 days until the wedding. And suddenly, this wedding wasn't about love anymore. It was about the truth. Once the idea was spoken out loud, there was no going back. For a moment, I stared at my phone, trying to decide if I had completely lost my mind. Exposing him at the wedding sounded dramatic, almost cruel. But then I remembered the photos, the lies, 2 years of deception. And suddenly the idea didn't feel cruel at all. It felt deserved. Emily booked a flight that same night. She would arrive Friday evening, the night before the wedding. She wouldn't tell Daniel. She wouldn't contact him. She would simply appear. At the perfect moment, we started planning everything carefully. When she would enter, where she would sit, what she would say. We even planned the exact moment she would walk in, right in the middle of the ceremony. Meanwhile, Daniel had no idea anything was wrong. He kept texting me sweet messages throughout the day. I can't believe we're finally doing this. 3 more days. I'm counting the hours. Every message made my stomach twist, because now I knew something he didn't. Daniel thought he was walking into the happiest day of his life, but in 3 days, his entire world was about to collapse. Saturday finally arrived. The morning felt strangely quiet, almost too peaceful. Sunlight streamed through the hotel window as I stared at my wedding dress hanging by the mirror. Just 3 days ago, that dress had meant something completely different. Back then it symbolized love, hope, a future I believed in. Now, it felt like part of a carefully planned performance. The venue looked exactly the way I imagined it would. White flowers lined the aisle. Soft golden lights glowed above the reception hall. Piano music floated gently through the room as guests began to arrive. Friends hugged. Family members laughed. Champagne glasses clinked. Everything looked perfect. My mother cried the moment she saw me. "You look beautiful," she whispered. I smiled and hugged her, because to everyone else, this was still a wedding. But inside, my heart was beating faster with every passing minute. Somewhere in the city, Emily was already on her way. And Daniel stood at the altar greeting guests, shaking hands, smiling confidently, looking like the happiest groom alive. He had no idea what was about to happen. In his mind, this was the beginning of his perfect life. But in just a few minutes, everything he built was about to fall apart. Then the music started. Soft piano notes filled the room as the large wooden door slowly opened. Every guest turned toward the entrance. 200 pairs of eyes watched as I stepped forward. For a moment, everything felt surreal. The flowers, the lights, the quiet whispers of the crowd. It was the wedding I had imagined for months. And yet, it felt like I was watching someone else's life. Step by step, I walked down the aisle. My father held my arm gently, smiling with pride. Guests wiped tears from their eyes. Some people even reached for their phones to capture the moment.
With you.
At the end of the aisle, Daniel stood waiting, tall, confident, looking exactly like the man I thought I knew. When our eyes met, his face softened. His smile widened. I could see the emotion in his eyes. The same look he gave me the day he proposed. When I finally reached him, he leaned slightly closer and whispered softly, "You look incredible." For a second, I almost believed the moment. Almost forgot everything. Then I smiled back, calmly, quietly, and whispered 2 simple words. "Just wait." The officiant stepped forward and began speaking. His voice was calm and warm, echoing softly through the room. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." Guests settled into their seats. The room grew quiet. Everything looked exactly like a normal wedding ceremony. Daniel held my hands tightly. His palms felt warm, confident, certain. From the outside, it probably looked like a beautiful moment. 2 people in love, standing at the altar, about to promise each other forever. The officiant spoke about commitment, about trust, about building a life together. Every word felt strangely ironic. I glanced around the room. My parents were smiling proudly. Friends were watching with excitement. Some guests were already wiping tears from their eyes. They believed they were witnessing the start of a perfect marriage. Daniel squeezed my hands gently and looked into my eyes. For a moment, I wondered if he could feel it. The tension, the secret waiting just beneath the surface. But his expression stayed calm, relaxed, completely unaware. Then the officiant paused and looked at us. "Before we continue," he said, "does anyone have anything they would like to share?" That was the moment. I slowly raised my hand. "Actually," I said softly, "Ido." The room fell silent the moment I spoke. Guests exchanged curious glances. Daniel looked at me, slightly confused but still smiling. The officiant stepped back politely. "What would you like to say?" he asked. I turned slowly toward the crowd. 200 people watching, waiting. "I just realized something," I said calmly. "There's someone here today who deserves to hear these vows too." A ripple of murmurs spread through the room. Daniel frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" he whispered. I didn't answer. Instead, I turned toward the large wooden doors at the back of the hall. For a second, nothing happened. Then the doors slowly opened, and Emily walked in. She moved calmly down the aisle. Step by step, the entire room froze. Whispers filled the air. Guests leaned forward in confusion. Some people turned to look at Daniel, and that's when I saw it. The exact moment his face lost all color. His confident smile disappeared instantly. His shoulders stiffened. His breathing changed. He stared at her like he had just seen a ghost. And under his breath, barely louder than a whisper, he said one word: Emily. Emily continued walking down the aisle. Slowly, calmly. Every step echoed in the silent room. 200 guests turned their heads, watching her approach the altar. Confusion spread across their faces. Some people whispered. Others simply stared. Daniel didn't move. He looked frozen in place. His eyes were locked on her, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Emily stopped just a few feet away from us. Then she looked directly at him. Daniel. Her voice was steady, almost casual, the kind of calm that only appears when someone has already decided what they're about to do. Daniel swallowed hard. Emily, what are you doing here? Instead of answering, she slowly raised her left hand. The room leaned in. On her finger was a ring, a diamond ring, almost identical to the one on my hand. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone in the back whispered loudly, "Wait, what?" Emily glanced around the room briefly. Then she looked back at Daniel. "You told me this ring meant forever." She paused, then added quietly, "You said I was your future wife." The silence that followed felt heavier than anything I had ever experienced. Because now, everyone in that room understood. This wasn't just a wedding anymore. It was the truth coming out. For a moment, Daniel just stood there, speechless. His eyes moved from Emily to me, then back again, like his mind was desperately trying to find an escape. But there wasn't one. Emily took a slow breath. Then she reached into her purse. "And before you try to explain anything," she said calmly, "I brought proof." The room leaned in closer. Guests shifted in their seats. The wedding planner near the back froze in place. Emily pulled out her phone. Within seconds, the large projector screen behind the altar flickered to life. The first photo appeared. Daniel, on one knee, holding a ring, proposing to Emily. Gasps filled the room. Then another photo appeared. Daniel kissing her on a beach. Another one. The two of them celebrating what looked like an engagement dinner. Then a video clip began playing. Daniel's voice echoed through the speakers. "You're the love of my life. I can't wait to marry you." A man near the back stood up suddenly. "What the hell is this?" Daniel finally panicked. His voice cracked. I can't explain. But the damage was already done. Because every person in that room had just seen the truth. And there was no explanation left that could save him. The room erupted into chaos. Whispers turned into angry voices. Guests stood up from their seats, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Some people stared at Daniel in disbelief. Others looked at me with sympathy. My father was the first to react. He stood up so suddenly that his chair scraped loudly against the floor. "What is this?" he demanded. His voice echoed through the hall. Daniel looked desperate now. The confident groom from minutes earlier had completely vanished. His face was pale. Sweat formed on his forehead. He looked like someone trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. "Please," he said quickly, reaching for my arm. "We can fix this." His fingers tightened around my wrist. "I can explain everything." For a moment I just looked at him. Really looked at him. The man I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And suddenly I realized something. I didn't recognize him anymore. Calmly, I pulled my hand away. Then I slid the engagement ring off my finger. The diamond caught the light one last time. I placed it gently in his palm. "You just lost two brides," I said quietly. And just like that, the wedding was over. Neither Emily nor I said another word. There was nothing left to say. The truth had already done all the talking. We turned away from the altar at the same time. Two women, two broken engagements, walking down the aisle together. The same aisle that, just minutes earlier, was supposed to lead to a lifetime promise. Behind us, the room had erupted into confusion. Guests argued. Some shouted questions. My mother was crying. The officiant stood frozen beside the altar. And Daniel just stood there, still holding the ring in his hand, looking like a man who had just watched his entire life collapse in front of 200 witnesses. But I didn't look back. Emily and I pushed open the large doors and stepped outside. Cool air rushed over us. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then something strange happened. Emily started laughing. At first it was small, almost nervous. Then I started laughing too. Not because the situation was funny, but because the nightmare was over. We hadn't lost a wedding. We had escaped one. Or at least, that's what we believed. Because 3 months later, something happened that neither of us expected. 3 months later, Emily called me, her voice shaking. "You're not going to believe this. Daniel is engaged again. And this time, there might be 3 brides."